On average, each day, I tend to get at least one question that's asked of me in YouTube or some other format, Facebook, Twitter, that could very easily be answered by the questioner simply by doing a little bit of internet research, which is enabled by the wonderful search engines that we have, not only through Google, but on almost every site. So I thought I would create this standard response video in which I could say, listen, why don't you just search for it, and give a few guidelines about that, talk about the nature of search and how I understand that, it may be natural to want to throw these questions and comments out there, but why it's a little bit counterproductive. So what sorts of questions are we talking about? I get them most frequently on my YouTube videos, and there'll be things like, hey, do you have any videos on so-and-so? Or have you ever written about this sort of thing? Or can you direct me to other, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And I also get them on my blog posts, in Facebook, both on posts and in direct messages. Same thing with Twitter, occasionally in Google+, occasionally in LinkedIn. So this video is going to be quite useful. There's a wide range of stuff that I think people could so easily just search themselves. I know that I risk coming across as a curmudgeonly old figure in saying, why don't you just Google it? Or, there are search functions out there that you can use. But there is a reason why I thought this is actually worth talking about. And really, it comes down to two different things. One is that if you're just asking people for information that you could so easily acquire yourself, you're not building up the kind of habits, and you're actually building counterproductive habits for what we can call the internet environment and age that we're not going to exit from unless there's some global catastrophe. This is going to be more and more part of our life. So it's what we call information literacy, which is not just knowing like how to parse information. It's knowing where to go for quality information. So this is very, very basic stuff. If you want to know in YouTube, for example, what's available in any given person's channel, you can search within that channel. You can also, use various tags to search a variety of different channels. It's very easy to do. Those who want to know more about my work can easily just type in Gregory B. Sadler into Google, and all sorts of sites come up. Including, my Facebook page, my academia.edu, where you can see all of my academic writings. People ask, do you have a business? Well, just Google Gregory B. Sadler, Reason.io comes up, right? Do you do this sort of thing? Well, go to the site and search around within the site. Same thing with the blogs. Do you have a blog entry about this? You look on blogs and you see down the side, there's all these topics. You click on those, or just use the search function, right? This is very important for people to learn. And I understand that, there are some users who, because of the equipment that they've got or the training that they've had, might not know how to do this. But it's really, really to your advantage to know how to carry out searches effectively and efficiently, because it opens up an entire world for you. And knowing then how to aggregate stuff is also really important as well. So I think that I do want to stress that if you are like writing an author and asking, do you have any books about XYZ? And you're not just looking on, say, Amazon or Google to find that out. Or if you're going to a YouTube video producer and saying, do you have any videos about XYZ? And you're not looking, say, through their playlists or even just using the search function, you're shortchanging yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't, start a conversation in so many other ways with somebody who you like. Maybe you're posting it because you hope to get a conversation going. It's better to be well-informed and then start the conversation. So that brings me to my second point about this, which is that, if I had infinite time, I might actually be inclined to answer all of those sorts of inquiries instead of just saying, listen, you can search that. Do it yourself, right? But I don't. And my activity as a producer of content is dependent on those same 24 hours that everybody in the world gets. And, I'm also in my middle age, so I see that horizon of what I'd like to get done getting closer and closer and closer as I age as well. So I don't really have the time to walk people, to be the sort of information repository about what I have available. I've already done the work to organize my videos into playlists, to, do the tagging in blogs for, subject lines and all of that, to make my website manageable. So, it's up to the person on the other end to do the work, to walk through it. And I simply don't have the available time to devote to each person asking me questions about, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? Because that takes away from the thought and time and work that I do that got you thinking you should ask me a question in the first place. So hopefully when you see this, if you've actually watched this to the end, your response is not, that SOB Sadler, he should have answered my question, but rather, oh yeah, I can answer my own questions, and that's empowering, and that's going to help me out. And then, you can come and ask me more in-depth questions later on once you've figured out what you want to talk about or want to research about.